right, everyone. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. This is Dr. Schoner recording another quick video for you, History 101 people using Canvas to know what's up when it comes to these analysis paper assignments that you're going to have intermittently throughout this History 101 class. So I'm here to just give an overview of the assignment and where to find the upload for it on Canvas and some resources that should help you when you're writing your first assignment, and really all of them throughout the semester as well. This should be helpful for pretty much any of them. So I'm going to screen share here, pop over to Canvas so you can see what I'm talking about. Here we are on our Canvas course page for Module 2, which I'm in the process of finishing up for you for week 2. You've got your to-do list, you've got your, if this is a remote class, honors class, or a different remote class, then you have a Zoom link here for regular meetings. If it's an online class, you won't see this. Week 2 discussion questions, yada yada. Now we have here analysis paper 1. This is an assignment page. And if you click on it, this is where you find your assignment for this particular analysis paper essay. You've got your directions here, some brief directions in terms of length. So we're looking at 2 to 3 pages or 500 to 700 words, thereabouts, for these essays. And they're all going to be that length. You use the documents from weeks 1 and 2 to provide evidence in answering the questions. And you're going to upload this paper on Canvas. And so here are the questions that you're given for this particular assignment. And these are going to change depending on what analysis paper assignment you're looking at, but it's always going to be 2 or 3 questions you have to answer. When submitting your essay, you go down here to choose submission type, and you can click on this, and you can upload a file if it's a PDF or a Word document that you've written your essay on, or you can click on text entry and you can type your whole paper directly into Canvas if you so choose. I don't recommend doing that because if your browser times out, you could lose your progress. So I recommend using a Word document or like a cloud-based platform like Google Docs instead. But this is an option of last resort. If you really need to use it, you're more than welcome to. Okay, going back to the module page for a second. Underneath the paper upload link, you have a couple of different things, and I'm going to add the rubric on here as well, and also this video. So you have some analysis paper resources to draw from. Number 1 is the analysis paper template, and this is basically the formatting guide for structuring your papers. They're all going to look the same in terms of format. So you can download the template and you could just use that if you wanted. Or you could start a whole new Word document. It's up to you. But this is basically like a snapshot of what I want the bones of these essays to look like. So up here we have your name, your class, the instructor name, and paper number 1 if it's your first paper, or if it's paper number 2, you write paper number 2. Right? A lot of English classes or history classes want you to structure your college papers like this. So this is good practice. This is good praxis for doing it in this class because it's pretty universal. So also the format, what I'd like from you in terms of formatting the paper looks like this. 12-point font, the typeface needs to be Times New Roman or Calibri, which I believe Calibri is now the default in Microsoft Word and has been for some time. Double space papers. These are double space papers, my friends, not single space. So that 2 to 3 page range looks a lot less daunting knowing that it's double spaced. Don't mess with the margins. Just keep the margins the same. And then the top left corner, you have all this good stuff up here, which we've already gone over. Essay structure. Like any good college paper, I want this to have a intro, a body, and a conclusion. Hopefully many of you are familiar with that layout from high school classes or other college English classes or something. But just a couple sentences for your intro, a couple sentences for your conclusion, talking about what you wrote about, why it's important. But your body is like where all of the content is. That's where the guts of the paper are, and that's where you're going to be using your evidence. The length we've already discussed. The length, that's all the same, 2-3 pages. Grading, you can refer to the rubric. I'll attach the rubric, and it's going to be attached also to each assignment upload link, so you can check out the rubric on your own. These papers are all worth 50 points, and you can score anywhere between 0 to 50, depending on how well you follow instructions that we're talking about right here. Citations. Now, citations is very, very important. One of the big points of making you guys writing these short papers is to practice using factual evidence to back up your claims. The world has a horrible, horrible record of doing this at the moment, and probably will for quite some time. But you, as college-educated citizens, need to know how to write intelligently and make a persuasive argument by backing up what you're saying with facts and evidence. So we're going to practice that in these assignments. And that should serve you well moving even beyond this college history course into your career and other classes and stuff like that. So for these short essays, I'm looking for a simple parenthetical citation of direct quotes or paraphrased information from whatever you use, one of your historical documents that we read every week or almost every week. So I have an example here of a sentence in which someone in their essay has used a historical document source as evidence. Punishments fell especially harsh on Babylonian women in the ancient period. For instance, the Law 153, that's a typo. Law 153 of the Code of Hammurabi, wow, says that if a man's wife has her husband killed on account of her relationship with another man, they shall impale that woman. Yikes. But that is a direct quote from a historical document, in this case, the Code of Hammurabi. In this parenthetical citation is just the title of the document. You can include the author in there if it has an author. But as long as I know which document you're talking about, that's fine. Page 24, because that is the page number where you found it in your Perspectives from the Past document reader. That's all it takes. That's for this class. I'm not interested in MLA or Chicago citations. It's just a short parenthetical thing at the end of a sentence where you use a source. That's all you need to do. So if we back up and we go out here, we can look at sample papers. I am going to show you, while I have you here, a sample paper, just real quick. This particular paper is from, it's a really good paper that a student wrote in fall of 2020 for another one of my classes. This is actually a History 102 paper, and I'm doing that intentionally, using a completely different topic from a different course so that no one can copy this whole thing and use it in this class. You have to write your own. Sorry, you have to write your own papers. But it will illustrate the points that I'm trying to make. So here they had their name. I took it out for privacy purposes. The class that they're in, the instructor. This is paper number 3 in this case. And they're writing about the French Revolution and modern problems and modern solutions. For the context, I included the context, like what questions were included in the paper prompt down here at the bottom of the document or of the essay. So just if you're curious, you can see what questions were asked of the student to write about. They've got an intro paragraph right up here, like 3 sentences or so. That's fine. And then he gets into the meat of his argument. This is a male student. So we've got, arguably one of the biggest questions facing the world at the time was, where do women fit in society? This is one of the things he's being asked to write about. More and more women becoming increasingly frustrated with their role, yada, yada. So he's talking about the problem. And then he introduces his first piece of evidence. Sarah Stickney Ellis wrote a book titled The Women of England, Their Social Duties and Domestic Habits. So here he's introduced, here's something I'm going to talk about to back up what I'm saying. This document's very interesting as it goes against feminism and actually argues that women should be more domesticated. So this is him using this anti-feminist book to talk about modernity, and he cites it, even though he hasn't quoted from it directly, he cites it in a parenthetical citation at the end of his sentence. Ellis, who's the author, women, so a shortened version of the title because it's a really long title, and shortening the title is fine in these citations. And then page 729. So he shows you exactly what document he's using and where it can be found in our book. Okay. And then he uses the document again as evidence. She claims that personal values tended to render blah, 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 blah. Ellis Women in 729 to illustrate him talking about the challenges that feminism faced in the modern period. Next paragraph, he moves on to a different problem, in this case, class. And he cites the Communist Manifesto as a piece of evidence, right? He's talking about modernity and class. The middle class has become more wealthy than ever before due to the Industrial Revolution, and quote, their massive and more colossal productive forces, which is a quote from the Communist Manifesto, and he cites it here. Marx and Engels, which are the authors, Manifesto 726. Okay, and he does that throughout the paper. He uses 3 different documents in this particular sample paper, the student, to back up what he's saying. He draws from 3 historical documents from those 2 weeks of readings. That is great. That's fine. I would say 3 separate documents being used and cited as evidence in your paper is the sweet spot. You know, if you can get away with 2, you could probably get away with 2 if you use them extensively. 3 is really good, and you're going to get full marks for citing your evidence that way, or using your evidence that way. He goes on to talk about other things, and he caps it off with 2 to 3 sentences of a paragraph, so or concluding paragraph. So you can access that sample paper and another one. You can access the rubric, the analysis paper template. This video, you can watch it as many times as you want. And I understand, so this is like a lot, you know, to kind of guide you. But once we get the first paper down and done, I'll provide feedback to you to help make the next one better. If you need feedback at all, and you'll pretty quickly throughout the semester, you'll establish a rhythm with these short papers. Okay. All right. Well, let me know if you have any questions whatsoever concerning the analysis papers. You can always email me at any time. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, good luck, happy writing, and I look forward to reading what you have to say. See you guys.